this on. Guess I can make the stream public now. Am I audible? I don't see, or I should say I don't hear myself. Oh, I hear myself. It's just rather quiet. Normally I would adjust that in editing, but I can't really do that in a broadcast. All right, that's enough for this. I can mute that so I don't have to hear myself. And I used to put like text on the chat on the screen or something, didn't I? That's not accurate. Good enough. Okay, so whoever happens to be here, I'll get going for real in like 5 minutes if anyone shows up. Today is a bit of a holiday, so I don't know who's going to feel like watching a random guy on the internet broadcast themselves writing code. What am I looking at? I don't like most of this. So the goal is by the end of today to get rid of like all of this because it doesn't do anything and it's rather slow. Or it doesn't do anything that can't be done in other ways anyway. I normally have GameMaker on the other screen, but currently that's where the stream stuff is. So I don't know if I want to cover that up. So if I do this, grass regrowing used to be previously like an AI state, which isn't great because it's a little bit indirect, kind of a pain to debug. Greetings. Pronouncing names, Crypteo, greetings. As well as the other people who have just made the viewer list tick up. I don't know if people like being shouted out that way or not. Anyway, grass is no longer regrowing because I added this here little return statement. I don't think I can get rid of that entirely, but this can this bit of weirdness can go, I think. Into here. Alright, that'll at least stop them from being marked as regrowing. These little grass objects. Can we also like return to our base states on our own? It's been a while since I've done this, and I want to make it a little bit easier to work with in the future. Now let's just give this about 30 seconds to see if this regrows at least partially. So how is everyone's Sunday afternoon? It looks like it's not regrowing. Okay. This must be the timer. Did I not like... Does this not have an animation speed? What is the speed set to? Defaults to 0. Which it is going to because it does not have an animation speed parameter. Alright, so here it... No. Geometa is generally good, but it does occasionally do weird things like that. Let me get rid of that so it'll at least not be eating space. What is the interval? Oh, this is a... You can see why this is not the greatest... Okay, 10 seconds. It advances a frame. You can see why this is not the code I am most happy about. I don't need that open. I don't really need that open. I'm working on that. That I'll keep open just in case. The animation speed can be, what? 1 frame every 10 seconds. If I just make that 1, what's it going to look like? Hello, Kaled. Thank you for the tutorial videos. Been working on a GameMaker Blender 3D pipeline using the videos as a starting point. Cool. Glad you found them interesting. People occasionally, alright, that is regrowing, but way too fast. People occasionally let me know what interesting things they do with the information in my videos, and it's always happy to see what people think of to do with 3D and GameMaker that I wouldn't have thought of. What is this? This is per second, right? So I think I want this to be 0.1 units per second. If you have any like fun screenshots or anything of the sort, feel free to throw them in my general direction on Twitter or something, and I'll retweet them generally. If you wanna show people what you're working on, or that sort of thing. All right, 10 seconds. 1. There's a little uptime counter on the debug overlay. About 35 it should grow again. There we go. Okay, so I think that's back. Nope. Okay, it never reset. The other thing I need to do is on the end action. We can remove the regrowing note and we can go back to our base state. That is my cell phone. What is base mesh exactly? Duck data, AI data, base mesh. Oh no, wait. That's this. That doesn't help. Oh, that's kind of dumb. It just grabs it at runtime. Okay, let me think about that for 2 seconds. I can think of a kind of bad way to go about this, which is where's the renderer? I did not spell that right, did I? You can just grab the first sprite renderer, mesh renderer, whatever that gets set, and then you can just save that for later and refer to it. Alright, that's a dumb way to do it, but it'll work. So in that case, self dot I think that would be it. This should cause when the regrowing process is finished to just switch back to the initial renderer. Kind of speed running myself. How fast can I set this up? And it froze. Why it froze, I don't know. It's working extremely hard. I don't think there's I don't think there's anything in there that should be an infinite loop or anything. Just in case it crashes there. See how fast we can speed through this opening cutscene. Alright, that caused it to break, and we are infinitely for some reason stuck in an infinite loop of setting the renderer. That's fun. This is some sort of 3D trickery to make it look 2D. I have the better view over here. this helps. This is what the game actually looks like. If this is easier than me trying to describe it. Yeah, I don't know why this is infinitely running. Yep, basically 3D. Because I don't believe in making things easy for myself. It's kind of obscure. You can't really see it except for in cases where if you're looking at the way objects that are closer to the player, to the screen, move over objects in the back, but it's there. So that only ran once. Why is it running at all? This should not fire off until the animation is actually ended. Most peculiar. Parallax can be done in 2D. Yep. I do not like that because I think that is doing work that the graphics card otherwise would for you, but regardless, this is a 3D camera through and through. Just trying to pretend that it's not. Alright, that did it too. Please tell me this isn't like a bug in the method function. Don't know if I really need to deal with that right now. Is this getting called instantly? Alright, that's still causing problems. And it didn't print out anything in the console, so it looks like... Time to go on the hunt. Hola. I am not going to try and make everything much worse by trying to pronounce a non-English language, but hello. I believe BN is generally good when translated to English. So, oh, that looks terrible. I hope you are well. Better than this game right now. Alright, let's unpack this one at a time. I don't even know where this is starting and stopping. That looks vaguely like the start. Oh, help. This is a recursion. I feel like that should be tossing out a nice good old-fashioned Stack Overflow at some point, because it's the same thing over and over. Oh no, it's not. It's indirect. It looks like it is bouncing between two different function calls recursively. Is this why I didn't do it like this to begin with? Cool. I'm glad you think so. It's breaking and I don't know why. Where are some of the uses of this? It's not being called from here. If the stack trace was a little nicer, I could use that to figure out where it's coming from, but it might be coming from there. If it spams a bunch of undefines in the console or something, then it's coming from there. Nope. That was not it. It's not a sprite, so it wouldn't be there. I already checked that one. I already checked that one. I don't think it's this one. Please tell me the method function is not actually invoking the code. That would be a big miss. Thanks for your 3D tutorial. I'm glad you found them useful. Not there either. Okay. If this is actually like bugged for whatever reason, I'm gonna have to just revert all of this and go back to doing go change to doing something else today, which I don't really want to do. Still breaking. If I stop the game at that point, it at least won't be like 100 stack frames deep when it calls it. The point of doing this is kind of to make it fewer stack frames that it has to run through when it goes through this whole thing. And never actually got to this point. Is it crashing in there? Feels like it's crashing before that particular line of code. Don't make me read this. Currently, anonymous function stack traces lines are the actual worst thing ever. Ratchet, hello. How it's going, you can see on the screen right now. Duck elemental filter. That's where this is coming from. And then and it's just gonna keep getting longer and longer. Okay. So if we want to debug this the real way, I can put a nice I can put a nice breakpoint here, and what is it on this line? F9, run this in debug mode. Have I tried setting no errors to true? I don't believe in doing things the easy way, Gizmo. Nothing else, this should print the call stack in a somewhat nicer way. Alright, let's step through this. This was not supposed to be a stream on debugging, which is one of the reasons that I thought this might be more fun to broadcast than some of the other things I've been doing recently, but the universe had other ideas. I don't need to see that. Removing stuff and re-adding it to the map. That's just creating a new renderer for the regrowing. It kind of... Okay, the debugger exploded when I went into set renderer. Why, I have no idea. You'll be listening to this in the back. I hope that works out. And it doesn't just turn into a bunch of, like, an hour of me asking, why is this happening? Ratchet, we are debugging spells in the game when they hit things. They currently make the game explode in a rather recursive fashion. And I'm trying to make it so that they, in fact, don't make the game explode in a rather recursive fashion. I'm going to aside this window so I can just see it in two different places. So renderer is here. And again, we're having problems with the lines jumping around. Yes, recursion. Simultaneously the best and the worst. Oh, did I, is it coming from this one? Please tell me that this isn't all happening because I've accidentally, like, marked something as static when it shouldn't be. Nope, that is not static. So there are no ways where that should be interfering with other structs properties. Please just print out a bunch of nonsense in the console so I can at least see that this is where it's starting. Nope. We can't have nice things. Alright, one. That's kind of in the wrong order. A shadow mapping tutorial, perhaps. If I really wanted this to go faster, I would just disable the opening cutscene, but it only takes like 8 seconds to go through. That didn't fix it either. I am totally not just changing random stuff until it does what I need it to. Why is this here? Why is this if statement here? I assume it's there for a reason, because it works. If I remove that, would the whole thing just fail to run? Each renderer is a struct, which contains things like either a sprite or a vertex buffer, the frame of animation it's on, and some other stuff. What I'm currently dealing with is animation and actions. So this whole thing seems to work if I don't have this if statement. This must be... Alright, that was not searching the right thing. This must be, Alright, I'm not going to touch that. What? What do I mean by each? What do you mean? Can I just, like, skip this? Oh, I can... Well, one thing I can do... is another way of... of telling the game what to, like what animation to play after this whole thing is over. Method is, it creates a method from a function, from any function. So methods in GameMaker are kind of weird. They're just functions that are tied to an instance. Normally in general code outside of a constructor, if you were to say something like this equals a function, it wouldn't do that. It would just create a straight reference to the function and store it in the variable. But if you want it to act as a method and set the scope, you use the method function. If you do this in a constructor, it'll be automatic, but outside of that, you need to use the method function. It's kind of weird. It's kind of a roundabout way of doing things, but welcome to GameMaker land. Let's see if that actually at least creates a non-crashing situation. All right, let's see if it regrows next, and lastly, let's see if it properly. It's regrowing. Let's see if it properly goes back to its full height when it's finished. You can't really have functions inside other functions. You definitely can. It is a fast way to make a big mess in your code. And sometimes when it comes to scope, they won't do what you think they do. But you definitely can. Without breaking the scope, yes. So if, and it looks like it is refusing to go back to its original, sprite model, whatever. Okay. That's not actually doing me any good. So this function here, it exists. If it wasn't, the scope of this function when it runs is whatever it's being tied to as a method. If you didn't use the method function, it would just be whatever happens to be running the code when it calls it. You will lose things like other local variables that may have been defined. You won't be able to see them since at the point where the code runs, they don't exist anymore. I'm seeing a couple issues here. Possibly. Including but not limited to, it seems like this is not actually being used. Really successor. I feel like this doesn't do what I think it does. I'm not entirely convinced that the successor node system is actually working, so that, like, you can't... I used to have it so that you could chain animations together without having to... Go away. Without having to do anything weird. Can I just extinguish you? There we go. Okay, you're on fire. That makes no sense whatsoever. The end action is running instantly. It should definitely not be doing that. And also the... Yeah, totally. It doesn't crash. That's what we want. I feel like that wasn't going to change anything. Since at the point where that code would be called, come on. Yeah, that's not... Is it still... Oh, wow. It is infinitely running the end action. Alright, let's change that back to what it was before. The act method should return true if you, Oh, you know what? I want that to be end, not stop. The act method should return true if it hits the end of the animation and false otherwise. Which wouldn't have mattered hugely with the way it was working before, but now it's not actually stopping when it hits the end, which isn't great. Which is probably why it was never continuing. So that would at least be one mystery solved. Alright, let's give it about 30 seconds to see if it regrows properly. Greetings, Nito. At about 45 seconds, it should be back to normal. Also, if anyone's wondering exactly what this is a wind spell. So the idea being that, okay, there it goes. Yes, thank you. The idea being that you can use it to do things like blow down grass, blow away grass, which is not animated yet, or push enemies around with the wind. You mean in the game or on a stream? In the game, there's a handy function called get timer. This returns the number of microseconds since the game has started. If you want to see the number of seconds since the game has started, you just divide by 1,000,000, and that's the number of seconds. And that's all the uptime counter on the debug overlay is. Is this too small? Is this hard to see on the stream? I can make it bigger. So I think at least... Okay, where is actually that printout being called from? Where is that code being called from? The printout. Huh. Did I already delete it? Maybe. It might have been there. I think that might have been what it was. It's, I need to still, though. Yeah, okay. Find out why this is running instantly. It definitely should not be. Let's share that in the aside. Base state also defaults to false, so I don't really need that. And it's just getting in the way. Alright, well, I can't actually set a breakpoint in there, can I? Let's find where this is and throw the breakpoint in there. Okay. Pull down the grass and... Okay, where has this been summoned from? This is where we are now. The previous line is... Okay. This is the one where it's being summoned from. Although it wasn't, when I was testing that earlier, it wasn't printing out, which is peculiar. It's not letting me click to go to that line, which is actually really irritating. Yes, that's where the spell is evaluated. That is where the Rigor sequence is initiated. I feel like I should change the stream title to Debugging or something, because that's what I spent the last, hour doing? I'm just going to change that to Debugging real quick. Just to accurately set people's expectations a little bit. How long have I been going for? 50 minutes. I got nothing that I wanted to get done, which is how it goes sometimes. And then it goes in here. Okay, at least I know where it's coming from now. Because this has a... That has not been set in any way, shape, or form. If I don't actually set it to the grasses renderer at any point, it's just not going to be called ever, right? Hello, Sans. That's fire. Alright, it indeed extinguished the fire, but it did not do any of the things that it was doing before, which is good in some ways and bad in others. These are two values. I don't know why I didn't give it an underscore here. The lowercase version is a type of action, and the capital version is the method that is actually called. It's not the best set of variable names I've ever given it. I forget why I didn't give it an underscore. I was probably in a hurry. Let's leave that there. This, though, has no business calling the end action method at this point. I've used the method function before like that, and it shouldn't cause any issues with like things executing when it's not supposed to. Okay. They're not indeed the same object. It was printing out a 0. Wish GMS2 had something like Visual Studio's refactoring tools. That would be nice. Of course, GameMaker being a dynamic language, it would have no way of knowing if one usage of something like a variable was the same as another usage, whether or not it should actually be refactored, or if it was something like just another variable in some unrelated part of code with the same name. I'm not a fan of dynamic languages, and paradoxically use them a lot. People are leaving the stream because this is just one big old session of debugging. So I guess as a compromise to make this a little more interesting, I can just put this on the shelf because it's at least not crashing the game anymore, and go on to do other things. I was planning on making grass like blow around or something. What's going on? A lot of unexpected things. Also known as the game is crashing. Or at least it's not doing what it's supposed to. It's not crashing anymore, which is nice of it. This, by the way... Oh no, I can't do that because if this did not exist, it would error, whereas I want it to just silently quit. I already tried doing this later, didn't I? That wasn't the issue. I can get rid of that breakpoint. I did not actually want to run the game. I still need this so that I can see if it actually runs on time. Still don't have a solution for shutdown system for the arcade. I'm surprised it wasn't just a couple lines of code in the form of a Linux extension. You were the one who was talking to Yellow Afterlife about it, right? It's still running instantly. It's also running more than it should be. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are only 5 clumps of grass being cut down there, and I don't know why. Yes, that is a macro for show debug message because I don't feel like typing out show debug message all day. The annoying thing is... Wrong button. The annoying thing is, at the point where this is running now, it shouldn't even exist. It should not be able to be called from the part of the code where it's being called from. Try to get any contact with the developer of the original extension. Okay. Yeah, making Game Maker games on Linux machines is still... Here we go. It still has its own set of challenges because you still have to work off of a Linux machine. Yeah, this is exactly what I mean. This line of code here is running, line 709, and the thing that it's running has not been defined yet, which I find extremely peculiar. And also I can't advance in the call stack. This could be a problem with the beta. This is a beta version of GameMaker. It's 2.3.2, which I'm using because it fixes a couple things that I was complaining about to video games earlier, and it seems to still have a few funny things going on. I don't know if I feel like trying to isolate this and send it as another bug report or just letting someone else deal with it. The hard part is interacting with Bash. I don't know where I have the code right now, but on Windows it's a fairly simple matter to just access the shell. There's just a... That's not what I wanted at all. There's just a single system call in the C standard library, C++ standard library, pretty much anything. And I imagine Linux has something similar. Which one is it? Oh, okay, it's literally just called system. This is what it would be in C, and for Windows. I imagine Linux has something similar. I don't know if it would literally be called system, the same way it would be on Windows, or if the Linux system standard library is calls it something else. EXELC might be worth investigating. Auto start works is in your arcade cabinet, launches the game as soon as it turns on. There's a bunch of ways to do that. There's a couple different ways you can stick something in a startup list in Raspberry Pi Linux. I still want to know. This code should not exist. It's behaving kind of like a static variable, as if I'm trying to share a single instance of a variable throughout many copies of a struct, but end action is not a static variable. None of the mutable. That wasn't what I wanted. None of the mutable methods in anywhere in here are static. Adding a desktop file to the auto start folder. Okay. I'm trying to think of the other ways I've added something to a startup list in a Raspberry Pi. I know there's a program called crontab, which is sort of a timing daemon, which lets you run shell scripts at certain points, either when the system starts or shuts down, or on a timer or some other event. I think there's another way too. Okay, you know what? Let's do something fun. Let me just commit this for now. Let's do something a little more fun. HP max. So if you pretend that this works, when it regrows, it'll have its HP restored to max, and then you'll be able to do the whole thing over again. Yeah, sure. Let's just reload that. It doesn't make a difference. What's loaded into the IDE doesn't matter when you run the game. But anyway, we should be able to mow down the grass indefinitely now. Also, whether or not it's actually regrown. So we can do that. Oh, there's only 4 clumps of grass. There are not actually 3 clumps of grass. Not actually 5, as I said there were earlier. And then in a couple seconds, this should be back. As you can see. If I do it again at what, about 40 seconds, it'll be back to stage 1. At 50 seconds, it'll be back to stage 2. If I wanted to give all this grass a hard time, goodbye. That's fun. Later on, I'll animate it like blowing away or something. In a way, this is kind of fine, because as soon as it grows back, you would expect to be able to blow it over. But later on, I'll worry about that. So I can commit this. Like that. This is pretty much useless. Was that what was causing it issues before? I wonder. If I run the game now and it just does what it's supposed to without complaining, that'll be something. There's a really dumb issue I was having a couple days ago. I can't remember what it was. I think it was like the code that I thought I was running was like commented out or something, and I spent like an hour trying to figure out why it wasn't running. Or it was returning early or something. Oh, you know what it was? It was, if I can find the line down here. Spells ordinarily would only interact with a single object before quitting, before deleting, but wind is supposed to be able to affect whatever is nearby, so it can't really do that. And there was just like a break statement in the wrong place, and that took me like an hour to figure out. Yeah, this is working as intended. Okay. There are still some little pieces of weirdness. For example, it counts as cover even when it's been mowed down, even though it shouldn't. It should only count as cover when it's returned to its normal state, but alright, I can get rid of this entire like type of AI because I don't need that anymore. Will it work on trees? Let me try running that on a tree. Okay, I'm curious to see if this will just work without having to do anything else. It should. Frog hunter harassment. Yep. There is an unfinished enemy in the game called the Frog Hunter, which is just something that hunts frogs, and that's what that's for. There's a couple things that are counted as AI in here that you wouldn't think of as AI, such as the one that I just removed, which is just grass behavior. Which is, it did the job, but it was kind of out of the way and pain in the neck to debug, so I'm getting rid of it. There's a couple other weird ones. Froggo Harassment is probably the funniest name. Let's see. These trees... Oh no, it's this tree is flammable. Right, let's see if this burns correctly. The fire is not reflected properly. At some point I want to fix that, but not now. This is going to be burning for a while. Nope. Okay. It is... Let's see, is it marked as static? Am I not allowed to change its mesh? Let's see if the grass has the same problem. Grass has much less HP. Okay, you guys should... Oh my god, that looks so bad. That's part of the same problem as before, though, since, they should not be... Now there's just a wall of fire there. They should not be allowed to keep burning after they die. They should be basically inert in the state that, in the dead state that they were in over here. And when this is running instantly... It doesn't really ever go into its inert state. Okay. Did I actually run the other one, or is it just being slow? It's just being slow. Okay, not sure why its cache got deleted. Since I started it up right before I started streaming and there were no problems then. Boy, this takes a while. Alright, here we go. And it'll take a minute to load. And is this tree static, or is there something else wrong? Why do you keep getting marked as static? Is that because of something in tiled? You there. Alright. You shouldn't, that checkbox should not be on. I don't think I imported the tiled map since the last time I was playing with this. These guys are not static, as they should not be. Oh, these are all flammable trees. The darker green ones don't have a mesh name attached, huh? Alright, well, that sounds like something for future me to deal with. This is another thing where it would be useful to would be useful for me to like set up some debug stuff so that I don't have to keep running all the way around the map and talking to the person and gaining the ability to swim and whatever. It would probably save me a lot of time in the long run, but in the short run, it's not something I can really be bothered to do. Nonsense. You are a duck. Alright, it's a good thing there's someone here to tell us these things. Let's see if this burns properly. Games can have some weird function and variable names. Okay, so you died and disappeared. This is debugging something else, I guess. Plant flammable 2x2. You're indeed a tree. There's really no differences here other than the amount of HP these things have. Oh, you don't have hang on a minute. When did I delete that? Burned tree 02. That's I need a way to like organize these better. Or at least to alphabetize them. Can I alphabetize them? No. What is burned tree 02? Oh, that's the, okay, obviously, yes. How many people told me to switch to Unreal or Unity? I don't know, I haven't been counting. As far as Godot goes, we're gonna just pretend that doesn't exist. But I will say that there's a reason I included that joke in that video. For the most part, people who use Unity and Unreal are mature enough to realize that when they ask you why you're not using Unity or Unreal, and you say because it's fun, they say, oh, okay, have a nice day, and that's the end of it. I remember many years ago in Game Maker, there was kind of like a bit of a Unity Game Maker feud, like why aren't you using a real game engine, but that, I haven't seen that on the internet for quite a while now. Yes, that's the joke, Ratchet. Sometimes alternatively phrased as in like it's never going to arrive. This fire feels slightly off-center. Alright, it's still not... So we're just debugging one thing instead of debugging the other thing now. Do I have anything against Godot besides people being annoying? Not especially. I think I have it installed. It's like... fine. It's a game engine. I don't have a... Okay, I don't have a shortcut to it, apparently. I don't have, like, any strong opinions on it either way. It's functional. I imagine it'll do what you want it to. But some of the people who use it, man. Can I, like, reload an old version of this to see exactly where it stopped working? Because, earlier in the week when I was recording the B-roll for the duck video, everything was fine, and now it's, kind of like all hell is broken loose. Okay, so until I go, like, eat dinner or something, is there anything else that I had planned to do that's actually fun that's not just looking for bugs? If I look over on the to-do list on this other side of the screen over here, so when enemies get hit by winds, they should get blown around. That may involve more rewriting stuff. Like I was doing at the start when everything just broke. So I don't want to touch that just in case I end up spending like another hour debugging. A lot of the stuff on this list has actually a lot of the urgent stuff anyway has actually been taken care of. Brain not working. Ratchet, what time is it for you? I want to say you're 6 hours ahead of me, so that would make it like 11 p.m., so like an hour before midnight. Oh, you know what there was I've kind of been reminded. My partner in crime has informed me that some new trees have been drawn, and I said I would put them in the game eventually. Where are... These are like... Not trees, actually. Environment, these are flowers and grass. Inventory, particles. A tree isn't exactly a prop, but... I know I saw them in here earlier. Where are the trees? Windows. Wow, how did you end up with that character in the search bar? I definitely did not type that. Okay. Where are you? Tiles and architecture. Okay. I did not see that earlier. That was one of the... I looked in here at some point. I get lost in folders too. I can usually at least manage the folder hierarchy on my computer, but we keep moving everything around and not telling each other where we move them to. And we've yet to figure out a place to put things that doesn't involve everything getting lost. Can I make these things invisible? Which layer do you live on? Duck? Are you like fused with... Oh wait, there's more, which I did not see. Duck, there we are at the top. Let me just export this as a single file. I said enter. So I'm going to do a couple of these. Yes, I'm glad you think so. I will let my friends know that people like his trees. Let me... This one already has the duck part set to invisible. There's a bunch of versions of it. This is based on a real life tree, which looks quite nice. I take it to be pronounced Ipe. It is my friend and partner in crime is Brazilian Portuguese, so he's drawing some like native plant life and that sort of thing. So that's what these are based on. They are very, very colorful, and for some reason, only they are not all opening when I try and open them in Asprite. 2, 3 is not open. 5 is not open. 3, 5. It only opens the last one that's selected. I don't know if any of these are test designs and the same color scheme. Let me look at them side by side. If there's any duplicates, I won't include them. But it doesn't look like 2 and 3 are very similar. 4 and the unnumbered one are very similar. Okay. We'll just come over here to the main tile set. No, I didn't want to do that. Whatever. Let's see. These are slightly bigger, I think, than the other trees. These are 96 by 96 instead of 64 by 64. Will/do we have game music? Eventually we will. We are conversing with someone who does music about video game composition currently. One more. This is actually an easier time than I've had copying and pasting an Asprite in the past. I'm not sure why it's occasionally just weird about it. Okay. This actually might be temporary. There's something I want to do, which will be very rewriting stuff to deal with the graphics in this game. To make it easier to manage them on textures and that sort of thing, but for now they're just on a tile set. Anything over the Game Maker Studio T sprite editor. Basically. Plants. Trees. Tree 0. This can be like tree, I guess 2 through 5. The weird thing about the Game Maker sprite editor is it can be good, it just breaks all the rules. Why is there a bisecting plane over here? That might have been an experiment I was trying for something and never deleted. The Game Maker sprite editor can be good, it just breaks all the rules, much in the same way that dare I compare it to Blender? Oh, it's 128 by 128. Dare I compare the Game Maker sprite editor to Blender? And it's just there are some design metaphors that we've gotten used to using. And these are the wrong size. These trees should be 2 by 2 instead of 3 by 3. There's some just design metaphors that we've gotten used to using in software and computers, having used them for 35 years, and both Blender and the sprite editor just kind of break them for no reason. That's a complaint for another day. If I need to use the Game Maker sprite editor, I can. It's not something I'm usually very happy about doing, which I guess does give it the advantage over Blender, in which case I do neither. Ratchet just doesn't do graphics. Yes, that's the nuclear option. Don't do graphics. Alright, anyway, let's load these in. What were they? 3 through... Why did that one export as OBJ? Oh no, that's something else. These will not have a texture initially, but if I reload the one in the game, they should. No, wait. Is that the wrong thing? Oh. There we go. Doesn't have a reflection yet. I should probably give it one. And there we go. What's wrong with Blender? Everything, I think, is a sufficient summary. I've done this rant in the past. I'm glad Blender exists because it, like, the alternatives are like hundreds and or thousands of dollars as far as heavy-duty 3D modeling software, but it just does not even try. Why are there duplicate copies of all these? Why do these all import twice? That's strange. Like if... Alright, there we go. If you assume like that a setting or some other option or a tool or something will be in a certain place in a piece of computer software, chances are that in Blender it will not be. And it's just like, I feel like the people who designed it were trying to do a very specific thing and did not realize that other people might want to use it too, and other people might be used to design metaphors that are something else. Bit of a steep learning curve. That's one way to put it. Or logarithmic, yeah, depending on which way you're looking at it. Gonna save that. Why is it so complicated just to set a vertex color? Because we're not allowed to do things the easy way. Also, I can't believe I never noticed though, but given that these tree sprites are 64 by 64 and they take up 3 by 3 tiles, the pixel density of them is not the same as everything else, and I can't believe I never noticed that before. That usually really bothers me in games. It does some stuff really well, but most stuff is deliberately obtuse. Before I load this into the game, is there anything else I want to do? So to make them reflect properly, if I just take another tree and set it to one of these. Currently these do not have reflections. I should probably give them one. But first, it broke. Okay. There's a bug in that program. I will copy that error message and look at it later. Keep at it and I'll get there. Or I could just leave it to be someone else's problems because I don't hate my life that much that I want to learn Blender as a programmer. Even, and I have it somewhere, even the simple stuff like am I still not allowed to just drag an OBJ onto the window and import it? Because this feels like one of the bare bones minimum features that you should expect to work in Blender that just doesn't. And it's not that, yeah, let's get rid of the default cube. It's not that the people who designed Blender never got around to doing this. I've seen people describing reasons why you are not allowed to just drag an OBJ into Blender and have it work, and it's just that they don't want to. And that is it's not something I agree with. Okay, so I can do this again. Interesting, I'll have to look at that. Like, the Blender people just don't even want to be like normal software. And I kind of feel like I'm going to put the same amount of effort into learning Blender as they're going to put into making it normal software in some ways. So if I was a 3D artist, I'd probably do it anyway, because that's like something that you do as a 3D artist. Instead, and that's gonna break it too. Cool, that's new. I'll deal with that later. Instead, I'm just gonna use Model Creator for GameMaker, make geometric shapes, and leave the Blender just be someone else's problem. They have their own philosophy. That's being generous about it. Speaking of user interfaces that are just different for no reason, I would like to clean this up eventually, but let's see, that this is kind of being built on the fly as needed, which kind of, which one was that? Was that 5? Because these aren't in alphabetical order because they imported weird. These tools are just kind of being built on the fly, so stuff ends up in weird places. But auto-generate? I am also not developing a tool that millions of people are using. Oh, that was the wrong one. So I think I can get away with doing that, or not doing that, as the case may be. Let's make that one the yellow one. Just generate the reflections with like a button. This code took longer to write than you might expect it to, because generating these reflections is a little weird. Any good videos or books to really understand GameMaker at runtime? Understanding... Let me actually zoom in on this a little because it's a long question. Memory use, object sprites, behavior. All in one place, like a series of videos or anything like that, or a book, I don't know off the top of my head. I do know that if you just look up things such as specific questions, such as like how GameMaker handles sprites, you'll usually find a GameMaker forum post on the matter eventually. I can't think of anyone who's like written a bunch of stuff all in one place. That's kind of what I'm trying to do at some points, but I haven't really dug down as far deep as like memory usage and stuff. I know that if you go in the Discord and look for either a... I don't know if he still uses this name, but Jack Sandbox, he will be perfectly happy to tell you about like inner workings. Namen is kind of writing their own like implementation of the GameMaker runner, which means that they kind of know a lot about the inner workings, so you could ask them too. I guess Twitter exists. Did YouTube just not send the comment? Is it? I guess because you can see the chat on the screen right now, is it not appearing? So 2Ms? There we go. This person with the rabbit, they know a lot about the inner workings of GameMaker. Undertale mod tool for the data.win. I've used another tool to unpack the GameMaker data files. I forget what it's called. I cannot for the life of me remember what it's called. And then I saw Undertale mod tool and said, okay, that might be actually a little more useful. As far as what I recommend doing something like this, maybe. it's useful. It saved a lot of time in some ways and consumed a lot of time in others. For example, just having a ready-to-go conversation system is pretty helpful, which has saved a lot of grief and aggravation, but it's also obviously taken a lot of time to make. But yeah, if you're looking for people to ask questions about that sort of thing, talk to those two. They know a lot. What was I doing? I was putting this in the game. Are these marked as static? I think they are. They are. It's neat, thank you. The collision on those trees might be a little weird. I don't think I haven't really defined collision on those trees, so you'll probably just be able to walk through them. Here we go. Yeah, they're not solid, but they look cool. Let me just hanging out under the tree. I will send that to my artist partner in crime. If Discord ever turns on, which I usually have off during live streams for obvious reasons. Making a visual scripting language is even worse than making a text-based one. It's not really a scripting language. If I were to find... They're all stuff like... They just convert literally into things like this, which is a function which grabs the information in the nodes, does something with it, and then moves on. It's not really a scripting language, it's not a syntax tree or anything. Are the medium trees scaled up by 1.5? They're not. I mentioned earlier, I don't know if you were on the stream when I said it, but these bigger trees are actually scaled up more than they probably should be, and I don't remember why. Do I have branches like if statements? Yeah. Let's see, let me real quick just dump that in the Discord. Close that so it's out of the way, and branches. There are some conditionals somewhere in here, like this thing here. If you open the treasure chest, there's a branch. If you have already opened the treasure chest, which is this thing, it's kind of copied from RPG Maker. Then just ignore. Otherwise, show a message you have opened the treasure chest branch again. If it requires a key or anything like that, then inform the player. Otherwise, here we go. It's turn complete. Okay, so is that your is that what you're asking? Very funny, Robert. Did I get your name right that time? I ask you how your name is pronounced like every time you come to visit. Anyway, that was moderately fun. What was I doing? Can I set these on fire? These aren't... These been marked as flammable? They should be. Oh, cool. It's just... What's happening there? Okay, thanks, dog. The dog set me on fire. Row bear. Okay, so I was closer than usual. Why is the, why did that fire spell not work? Is the tree just in the way? The dog set the NPC on fire, and the NPC set the dog on fire. That's going well. Okay, it is just being blocked there for no reason. Alright, exciting. I'll have to deal with the other stuff later. The forest is now much more colorful than it used to be. The wind spell is intended to do a couple things. One, which is what I was doing earlier, and it was turned into like an hour of debugging, which ended up not being fun to stream, is like cutting down grass / blowing it around when you cast it into it. And of course, now I'm gonna have to rerun the game. The other is to do things like push enemies around, which I have not done yet, and I don't want to touch until I get the first thing done, because trying to debug 2 things at once sounds even worse than trying to debug 1 thing. As well as general pandemonium. If something's on fire and you cast wind into it, you'll spread the fire. Those are the main 3 ideas. Ow. I'm not sure if ow is the correct response to having a gust of wind blown at you if you don't take damage, but... Alright. Do you complain? You don't like that either. Does cutting down the grass drop items? No, but I like the idea of hiding things in the grass. More or less. But I think I know where you're going with that. Okay. Was there... Ratchet, you always feel like you should work on your parser. Are you sticking with parsley for the name, or are you going to come up with something else because someone else already used that for another text parsing tool? Are the new trees? New trees are not in here on this list. You're still trying to come up with something else. Okay. Golden Sun. Did you use... Oh yeah, synergy powers, duh. That was actually part of the idea that I was thinking of when I originally pitched this to my partner in crime. Trying to use magical spells for non-combat purposes is something that I've been messing with the idea of doing for a while. Sort of blending that with like Zelda, the Legend of Zelda tools. Nice trailer background, thanks. Obligatory ducks. Or at least duck statues. Several of them. The name conflict was demotivating. Alright, everyone, give Ratchet your best puns involving the word parsing. Because he had parsley, and then found out that I think it was a Python library was also named parsley, and that's a bit of a downer. In the meantime, I'm going to I could always just come up with more NPCs. That's always an option. What would be a fun NPC to have? Someone just like give me a name or a concept or a something. Per se. There was another NPC somewhere, and I don't think they're actually in the demo map, who just went on and on about cheese. Could have an NPC that talks about vegetables. A mischievous goose. think we can have some fun with that. All right, that's going to be a pointless choice. They're both going to end in the same place. There's an NPC somewhere who asks you if you're a wereduck. Ratchet, you found a solution. Should this NPC who's interrogating you about being a goose be persuaded if you answer a duck, or should they just become more suspicious? Or as a third option, is fiend F-I-E-N-D or E-I? Because it's one of those I before E rules that just doesn't work in English. Did I write this in GameMaker? Yeah. It's this thing. It's a lot. If you just say you're a duck, I don't know if they'll be convinced. You should blindly ignore the fact that you are a duck and keep calling you a goose to get you to commit crimes for him. That's like the opposite of what I was thinking. I was thinking of them being like paranoid or something. Thank you, Jaleco. Oh, come on. /wave is a keyboard macro I have on my computer, and it's normally fine, but in cases like this where I want to actually type that, it doesn't really work. So no matter what you choose, Guess I'll leave it there for now. First, you need to actually attach that to something. I didn't actually name that entry point, did I? Oh well. Oh, thank you, Robert. Great, now you put me on the spot and I feel obligated to say things, and I'm very awkward about that, but thank you. I want to play this soon. Motivation for me to actually, like, finish something. Let's see. So you're gonna complain about losing stuff and send me on a fetch quest. You are... Oh, come on. You walked away in the middle of the conversation. That's rude. Did that, did the text prompts actually pop up? A duck, you say? Interesting. Something broke. Is that what I love it when stuff breaks for no reason. Okay, that might be another bug to fix. I found several of those. It seems to have just run through immediately. Oh, you know what? I was messing with something involving conversations yesterday. Although I thought I undid it, so it's possible I left something somewhere. Duck machine broke. That's basically what it feels like. Let's see, if I'm able to find that real quick, I'll do it. Text. Let's just see if it hits that or if it just runs right through. Okay, so it did hit those points. It did not show the messages though. Your parser's internal function prefix has turned into PSY with the name change. Yes. Git and optionally GitHub desktop is amazing. I used the command line version for a long time because I was too lazy to actually like install and use desktop, but desktop is definitely a time saver over the command line version. When the first message appears, it should show the messages. It seems that it's actually not showing the messages. I hope it's just a matter of like not displaying, not like drawing text when it needs to. Because if it's more complicated than that, then I will be annoyed. Oh no, it does, wait. Okay, the second time it doesn't do it. How peculiar. Gonna spam Gangnam Style in your code like it's 2013. It's what, 8 years old now? So does that officially make it old enough to be retro? I remember Gangnam Style was the first viral internet video that I actually liked. Most of the other stuff that just blew up for no reason in that era was just kind of annoying. But I legitimately liked Gangnam Style on its own merit. It was just kind of a fun song. Did I spell that right? O-P-T-I-O-N-S. It's a catchy song. So are a lot of other viral songs, but a lot of viral songs are catchy, which is part of the reason that they take off, but it's just that both the visuals looked like just funny, and it was actually a song that actually had words that actually made sense, I thought. Whereas not to like harp on Friday like a decade after that was a thing, but that I just thought was annoying. Like the words didn't particularly make sense, and it didn't help that like my classmates were just screaming about it for like 5 weeks straight. That was a good time for me to not be on the internet. But regardless, so the choices are being processed. Also, Ratchet, you were talking about like refactoring support and stuff a little while ago. I don't know if you've ever seen this. This is GMedit. This is an alternate code editor that Yellow Afterlife made. And it doesn't have like full refactoring support, but it does have a lot of helpful things, such as like search for all references, like I did just there. So if you haven't seen that before, it may be helpful. It also has some other useful tools in it. It makes sense if you know Korean. I don't remember if it had an English lyrics. It did not. I don't, as far as I know, nobody ever made an English version of it, but if you like translated the words directly, it made sense. It wasn't just someone randomly screaming about the days of the week or whatever. It was actually a song that had words that were saying something. This is where I just was. Can I step through this one at a time again? It is pretty good. It's taken me a while to actually stick to using it. I do like bounce off of trying to get into using it and then going back to the Game Maker IDE just out of habit for a while, but are any of these not connected properly? Oh, is it? It's because I know why this is. This is because this system has issues with text nodes and choices where in a block of text nodes that have more than one line of text in them. All right. So we have to go here a little bit indirectly. nodes. The question mark should be inside that formatting tag, shouldn't it? Also, just to drive home the paranoia a bit, let's, instead of using the wave animation on Goose, let's make that the shake animation. Just because it looks a little bit more panicky. The only reason I changed that one is because having two lines in a similar block of text ending with "you say" is a little bit weird to me. Is there something better than Goose-like? It is... It doesn't look like there's an adjective for geese. The way like a whale would be a cetacean or a cow would be a bovine or something like that. Gooseus. I could say like Geesian, but that's a little bit weird, and that might people might not know what I mean by that. All right, I think this is the last. There we go. I should probably fix the little issue with the dialogue system. Gaggles of geese honk. Yeah, I should throw in a third option here just to confuse them, shouldn't I? That's a good idea, actually. You can scream in all caps, double text size, and a red text. Gaggles of geese honk. That would be a that would be an army of them. Let's see. Let's do this again. I didn't actually change anything, did I? No, this is just GameMaker being weird about projects being modified. I thought they fixed that in the beta, but apparently they did not. Okay. And then of course you could, oh, I just moved through that a little. Here's the shaking effect. You could save your answer to a variable somewhere, and then the paranoia would just grow the next time you talk to them. Quack. Quack, you say? You're a duck. I don't know whether to believe you. I'm going to end up taking this joke way too far, I can tell. Oh, is that a... Did I just type red there? Did I did not. Okay. I won't rerun it now. I'll probably just end stream after this, but... Alright, so you would rather get hit in the face by a frog who spits water at you than talk to a goose. That's understandable. Alright. I see viewership is starting to drop again. I will end it here. I will probably stream game dev again eventually, hopefully with less debugging and more actually getting stuff done. When? Who knows? I've never really been one to stick to a schedule when it comes to live streaming, but we'll see. Let's see. I can probably change this text and make it bigger or something. I guess. How do you end streams? I've never been especially good at ending streams. Why do I always join when stream is ending? I will try to announce plans to do a live stream like earlier next time, because I just kind of sat down and turned it on today without really doing any by way of like preparation. But yeah, hopefully next time will be a little bit more organized, and I will announce it ahead of time, because that is something that people appreciate. But I guess if you want to see more about this game, there are links to the Quack Talk YouTube channel in the stream description, and I believe also the Twitter I put there. I hope. Okay, they're there. So if you're interested in seeing that sort of thing, head on over there. We are fairly active on the Twitter, on the Quack Talk YouTube channel. That's one of those names I can't say without laughing because it just sounds funny. We will be posting stuff kind of time permitting. But yeah, I will see you all later.